I want to say first off that I started this front loading joy to help allay some of the angst and the anxiety, the physical feelings that we're getting just from all the craziness that's going on in the world right now. Not that there hasn't always been craziness. I'm reminded pretty regularly about historical things that also bring crazy. But at this point in my life, I know that I'm working a lot on my unconscious limiting beliefs, on improving my mental health, on changing my neural pathways. But what I don't find often is people knowing what to do with their physical bodies in order to help them just physically release some of this. So over this past, I don't even know, I don't know how many weeks. It's been about 3 months now. We've been doing something different every day. And one of the interesting things that I noted, one of the reasons that I haven't talked about this particular topic specifically is because it's really a challenge to actually do it together. And that is it literally singing. It's a challenge on Zoom because we don't, and I don't know how many just got their chest constricted a little bit and their throat tightened at the thought, someone's going to make me sing.
Nobody
Okay.
wants to hear that.
Okay. So here's what I just want you to hear for yourself. First of all, the singing itself is extremely cathartic. I want to walk through some of the science of this to give you some sort of an idea and the explanations and what I use. Now, I come from a musical family. My father was a choreographer and a dancer all his life. There was music always in my house. Then, on top of that, my mother was an opera singer, professionally
Mhm.
trained opera singer. She also did all of the music for my dad. My dad owned a dance studio with my mom together. And I grew up, my first memory is sitting under the piano while my parents were, my dad was teaching and my mother was playing for dance. So music has always been an integral part of my world. It doesn't have to be an integral part, but I believe it is for everyone, even if we don't notice it or realize it to the extent that I had it. My mother refused to listen to country music. That was the only radio station in town when I was growing up in Winona, Minnesota. She refused. They don't speak English. Oh, vowels, Sonia, vowels. As a matter of fact, I remember specifically when I was in, I moved after college. I moved down to Houston, Texas, and I called her. I didn't do this intentionally, but I was calling my mother, who is an opera singer, and speaking in twang. Okay, that was just horrific for her.
Love it.
I digress. I know, but I digress. When you consider my background, it makes sense as I was going through the throes of releasing and abstaining from something that had helped ground me and center me and calm me, releasing the substances and the behaviors that were so integral to my centering and my grounding. And those were the tools I used consistently, in large part because I didn't like to feel. I didn't know what to do with anger. There was no way I was ever going to be angry. The idea of any extreme emotion was really challenging for me. And so when I released all of this stuff that was, I didn't know what to do with. I didn't have anything in place until I started to notice something. So for a very long time, I have been singing in the morning, a very long time. And that singing is amplified. So here I was in this space, and that had been consistent for me for a very long time. As I mentioned, I grew up with this. The types of music that I listened to mostly, frankly, were musicals. The reason that musical songs move me so is because of the storyline underneath them. And so if you think about, that's for me, it could be different for you. The fact is, our music is directly related to events and circumstances in our life and times in our life when we were either happy or sad or going through something major. Music has always accompanied us. and we don't even necessarily realize it. And so that's why figuring out a good playlist for yourself is super helpful. My Apple Music plays something called Sonia's Favorites, and it changes every Wednesday morning. It's funny to me because it's been 3 months, Marcia, that I've been doing these front loading joy, and I've not actually talked about my front loading joy.
Okay.
Because it's been challenging to me to come up with something that makes sense. So I thought I'm just going to tell my story about front loading joy and then the science behind it. And I don't expect that we're going to be able to sing together, although I would love that. But because of the copyright issues and the other issues involved with specifically music streaming on these kinds of formats, I can't play music for us to sing. This particular topic is my most passionate. One of the people that I talked about this before with has actually messaged me multiple times over the last 2 years to tell me how wonderful it is that she's now
nice.
added music into her life because she hadn't thought about it before. And I need you to hear this is extremely individual. There are going to be songs that remind you of things, that trigger things, okay? And there are going to be songs that help you feel warm and sweet and fuzzy and yummy,
Yeah.
okay? And there's nothing wrong with listening to a song that reminds you of a poignant or bittersweet time. But the idea is to marinate in it, whatever that is, to really feel it. There's such a huge difference between being in gratitude for something and actually feeling the gratitude of it. We experience billions of data every minute. A particular topic is so important to recognize, and we can't, if we hear a song that we know, for instance, we've got it memorized already, we've heard it multiple times, and if we can flash back to that time, think about how beautiful that can be for us. What a gift that can be. And what I do in the morning is I wake up and I don't know what the next song is. There's 25 songs a week. So I usually play 5 or 6 in the morning. And I don't know what the next one is. So guess what happens with anticipation of the next song? Dopamine.
Yeah.
We're getting a healthy dopamine hit. Okay. So, what happens when we have been abstinent or when we're working really hard to stay on our plan? Guess what happens there? It's a dopamine desert.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. So, not that there's anything wrong with dopamine, but when we have been perpetually and consistently hitting on that dopamine regularly because of our food choices, when we go off of that, we do have a dopamine desert. Now, there is a point of downregulation, and I don't want to go into all of that science, but the fact is, this is a healthy dopamine hit. The songs that really move you. One of the physical impacts, not just of the gratitude and the joy and the dopamine hit, the serotonin, even, or the oxytocin, when you can remember a song. First of all, you have to turn this silly stuff on. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to remember to turn it on. If you're doing something that you don't like to do,
Put on music.
guess what? You need to turn on the music. It's going to shift your perspective. It's going to shift your thoughts on it. It's going to raise your mood more than likely. I have one of my lists is Broadway musicals. And unfortunately, it doesn't work for me because
Oh, interesting.
there's so many songs I don't know. I've not been to them. So even me who has, and I'm not trying to, my dad and my mom took us all the time. They met doing a summer stock at Brigadoon. Come on. They met there. I was
Cool.
probably conceived that night. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Long story. But my grandmother changed the date in the Bible when they were married.
Why?
Moved it back a year to make it.
You were born too soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the fastest gestation period in
Love
history.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. We have
Oh,
a
my
couple of
poor
those.
grandma. She was so worried. She was so worried. She was born out of wedlock. Her mom was 16. God bless her. She just really was really, that was like traumatic for her.
Activated her parts.
It did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ahead of time.
Thank you, Denise. This is the other thing that I've found really important. For me, this is science. All right. When we, in the morning, before we do anything else, when we sing, and dance and love. You don't have to sing. You might be disturbing someone, but frankly, I get up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning and I sing really loud, and my neighbors have actually told me that they love getting up early with their cup of coffee and hearing me sing. Now, I'm not suggesting I actually have a pretty good voice, so that's probably okay. But my point is,
Yeah.
do not, that critical voice, oh, let that little one just go find something else to criticize, because your singing is so important. And when you sing, you're activating your vagus nerve, which is right here, which right here in this spot is incredibly important. And that's where the singing, the larynx, the voice box comes. So when you're singing, you're activating your vagus nerve in a way that calms it and centers it and encourages you to be grounded just in itself. Your body and your brain recognize we're not in danger right now. Okay? So let that little one who's freaking out about you making noise that doesn't sound right, let that little one take a break. So when you're singing, my mother, by the way, said everyone can learn to sing. There's not a single person on the planet that can't. It's a muscle.
Just not well.
Just not the right thing.
Well,
We can all
and that's
sing.
a,
Some of us sing better than others.
and I grew up with an opera singer.
Yeah.
So I had to reconcile the fact, wow, there's no way I can sound. I was always on the critical bent. And I basically let go of that and just said, nope, this is important to me. And I didn't even realize the science behind it. But when I first started really focused on my front loading joy, when I first started naming it, I recognized what it was doing for me. When I don't care what happens overnight with sleep or not sleep, good sleep, bad sleep, dreams or not dreams, deep sleep, resonant, I don't care. The fact is, when we wake up, we're at a certain level. And front loading joy lowers whatever level that is. So that when we go to do the next real lifey thing, we've got lower space. We've got groundedness.
So, Sonia, what's the difference between doing your singing that you do and or doing the Donna Eden movements that we used to do? We used to do them even sitting at the computer. That was years ago. So, what is the difference? Does music impact the brain differently than touching your different points?
Yes, and.
Yes, and okay.
Donna Eden's 7 minutes or 5 minutes. I think it's
Yeah.
Donna Eden 5. If you Google on YouTube, I've done a
Yeah.
loading joy on it. Yes, Donna Eden goes through the different Chinese meridians and the different energy centers of our body. And she does it in 5 or 7 minutes, and it's wonderful. And it's very calming and very relaxing. It's very pointed. When we sing, what we're doing, first of all, we're calming our system. Just in general, we're calming our system. We're also hearing it outside, that our entire brain, even if you hum, the singing that you have, the music that you're playing is being heard by your full brain. So everything is being filtered through multiple lenses. That's number one. Your heart rate variability, or number two, I should say, your heart rate variability. When you're breathing and singing, just think about sustaining a note.
Right.
Okay. In order to hold a long note, like Whitney Houston's songs, every single one of them has several sustained notes. In order to do that, you need to take a deep breath in, and then you exhale out slowly because you're singing, right? So guess what you're doing naturally?
Yeah.
You're doing straw breathing naturally with the
Yeah.
song. And when you're sustaining a note, when you're hanging on to a note, your diaphragm is pressing gently to allow and strengthen to allow your lungs to slowly release. That's the same thing with straw breathing, but you're adding the vagus nerve stimulation on top of it. Okay?
Same but different.
Right. So the heart rate variability is a really important aspect of this as well, where you inhale quickly and exhale slowly. When you inhale quickly, your heart rate goes up. And when you exhale slowly, your heart rate goes down. So that variation tells your brain everything's fine. One of the right side of your vagus nerve actually is called the vagus brake, and it only manages the heart. And with that, the reason for that is because if we were being chased by a lion or tiger or bear, or if there was a loud crash, or if something sent our heart up to the rafters, the vagus brake stops it from going into the stratosphere. Okay? So when you have heart rate variability maximized, your brain knows everything's fine. That's a really important tool. And the other thing that you do with this is you let your parts know everything is fundamentally well at the start of the day. And the last thing you do is make sure that you're letting your parts know this is my gift to you.
Mm.
I am making sure I am protecting my sweet little ones. I am putting them at top priority. I am letting them know that they matter and that their concerns matter and their anxiety can be lessened because I have just given them a gift of a dose of calm, a dose of sweetness, a dose of joy, a dose of delight, a dose of release.
I wonder how songs from our childhood would impact on our child parts.
There is actually a lot to be said for that, because I just shared something out to a couple of people this morning. Let me see if I can find it.
The woman singing about there's no point in worrying. Beautiful.
Yeah, this one's.
I just wonder about, I know something funny goes on when Zavi, that's my youngest grandson, says, "Wheels of the bus, Bubby," and we'll start singing Wheels of the Bus. I used to teach nursery school, and I taught nursery school when I was 16 because of a whole bunch of education things. But there's a thing that happens, not just engaging with Zavi, but I'm aware that there's certain nursery songs I sing that impact differently than any Tina Turner song I sing. So I'm wondering if it's a part relationship.
Yes, probably. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our parts, according to what I understand and how this feels right to me, our parts are created at different times in our lives for reasons to hold deep emotions that, or deep circumstances or deep situations that feel too much for the authentic self to handle or to hold all together. Our parts are created to be those sweet treasure chests. They also hold on to those particular songs and those particular situations as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. To give you an example, this is what I shared out today. And I want you to just think about how you're feeling right now. And then I want you to think about how it feels just marinating in this song, just seeing how this feels for you.
Let's listen to the song now. Worrying has never changed a thing, and so all that I can do is try to bring a sense of steady calm till I know what's going on, 'cause worrying has never changed a thing. All that I can do is trust and wait, and try my best to gather information. I can try to be prepared, and I can do it scared, but worrying has never changed a thing. All that I control is myself. No, I cannot control anybody else. So I'll do what I can do, then wait and see what's true, 'cause worrying has never changed a thing. Worrying has never changed a thing. And so all that I can do is try to bring a sense of steady calm till I know what's going on, 'cause worrying has never changed a thing.
That's a lucky kid.
Is it? He really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different kind of singing.
Mhm.
That's a different kind of singing than what I've been talking about, but it is also, I don't know about you, but I just got all tingly and I got all warm and fuzzy inside and I felt much more relaxed. And I'm not even worried.
I actually
Right now,
felt
anyway.
annoyed
What?
for some. I actually, it was, I'm not sure what that was about. I was looking at that like, why am I feeling this way right now? What is that about?
Oh, that is interesting.
It's really interesting. I'm like, stop it. You shouldn't feel this way. No, you're feeling this way. Okay.
It
Take a
could
look
have
at
been
it.
any number of things, but, and
Mhm.
that's the kind of lullaby that you were just talking about, Marcia, that
Mm-hmm.
that is designed to soothe you before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know, Denise, maybe you never had anyone sing to you.
Or
Maybe,
maybe it's something you want.
or maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
who knows? I don't want to, I don't want to solve, pick this, pick this
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
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 But it's fascinating to look at. It is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you think about singing, pay attention to the feelings that you're having with this music. Find
Mhm.
music that feels upbeat when you're doing something that is a struggle or a pain. Workout music is obviously designed to be movement oriented.
Mhm.
I really need music in the kitchen when I'm cooking. I need it when I'm vacuuming. I need it in a lot of different places. But when I do it first thing in the morning, everything is calmer, everything is more grounded, everything is more centered. And that is my front loading joy. So my task for you today is to find 5 pieces of music that really means something to you, as in something that brings a beautiful joy to you. It reminds you of a garden or reminds you of a time when you had a wonderful vacation. I don't know what it is. Maybe in your youth, you had some really delightful music that you used to love to listen to that would bring a huge smile to your face.
Could we each share a song that means something to us?
Absolutely.
I know what mine is. Mine is Helen Reddy. I
Mm.
am woman.
I am woman. Oh, yeah.
Whenever I'm
Mm.
struggling, I sing it at the top. I don't sing it, I yell it because I'm not a singer. But Helen Reddy has gotten me through a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
What's
Mine's
yours,
Michael
Tommy?
Franti.
What is it?
Michael Franti, any of his music, I have all of his music. I go to a concert every year and I have Spotify, so I can do the same thing. Like he's on my happy list. So I have a happy list, but I haven't been listening to it. So thank you for this. I've been listening to polos a lot because getting games groups and stuff, and that's not
No, it's not the same.
that's not the same. No, it's not. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
How do you spell Fronte? Exactly the way it's.
Franti.
Oh, I didn't do it right. Okay, I'll look it up. Thank you.
I love
Michael.
him.
Anybody else do you have a favorite music, Tracy?
Oh, when I need a pick me up, I like to listen to Mamma Mia. Just
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
I just heard a song that a guy was jumping rope to an ABBA song, and I thought it was delightful because he was like 20, maybe 25, right? And here he's listening to stuff from the 70s from me. So I just thought that
Yeah.
was really lovely. Yes, thank you. Tommy, do you have a favorite?
No, it just depends on what my mood is. I
Oh,
just
come
love
on now.
music.
There's somebody in particular you adore.
Oh, yeah, you too is my go-to for sure. I accidentally started a subscription to Amazon Music. I accidentally clicked on it and agreed. And I looked down and I'm like, what? No, how did this happen? And I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to all this. And so there's music I don't have access to otherwise of theirs. And so I've been listening to it very loudly and I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Mine, hands down, is show tunes of music that musicals I've already seen. Right now, Wicked is it has been at the top of my list for a very long time,
Mhm.
but if you've seen the movie, which is only the first half of the musical, you understand what I mean when I say once you watch the musical, the music takes on a whole new flavor. Every
Mhm.
single piece of music I listen to pulls me back into the delight and the wonderfulness and the intensity of the musical. So those are my favorites. I have a huge eclectic range, though. I mean, if you were to listen to my Apple Music, like right now, I was just listening to Whitney Houston.
She's another of my favorites.
Yeah, Whitney Houston and Rent, Linda Ronstadt, Sarah McLachlan, Barbara Streisand, Pitch Perfect. Sarah Bareilles is brilliant.
Mhm.
Brave is one of my favorite songs. Old music like Good Morning Starshine, Billy Joel, Elton John. I could go on. So the big takeaway from me is that add music anywhere you can. And if you can sing at the top of your lungs, it adds a huge flavor of front loading joy and relaxes your system in so many ways. And if you can, notice if you've got a part that is activated by the critical voice. And let that one know, no, honey, I'm actually here to sing to you. It relaxes things.
Are your previous front loading joys on YouTube?
They are.
And you
There's a playlist that I put together of all the front load joys. So all you have to do is go to my YouTube Transform with Sonia. That's the name of my YouTube channel. And this one will be up eventually within
good.
6 hours or so.
Good. Thank you, Sonia.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Sonia. That was great. Really good.
I have
Have
to
a
go
wonderful-
put on Oklahoma now because
Oh,
all
of
the songs are
course.
running through my head.
I know, exactly. Right?